can you hear me correctly? Is it okay for you?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so just before starting, I will introduce my school. I'm working for 5 years in this lovely school. It's an old castle, but behind we have big battlements just for the picture. And we are in the south of France. This is an old engineering school in agronomy. Okay. We have 2 campuses. We have a university campus in the center of the town, and we have a farm with 200 cow, with chicken, with organic production. And this is a farm in order to have a pedagogic session and research on agronomic fields on many points. And now, excuse me, I will introduce myself. So I am researcher in consumption, food consumption. My research field is focused on the perception of quality of food, but only on one target, young adults between 80 to 40. And I will speak about this research point at the end of my presentation. And before working in this school, I was manager in marketing during 20 years in brand of food distribution. So I knew food distribution in France. And now at school, I am in charge of courses concerning marketing, distribution, and international trade. I'm in charge of these 3 topics at school. So I am available for any question. When you want to stop, I will make little step and little stop in my presentation, but do not hesitate to ask me your question. So my first point is to give you a few words concerning French agriculture and French self-sufficiency, because this point, of course, impact on our consumption, food consumption. I put here some picture. Excuse me, I want to put out this element. Yes. Is it okay for you for the picture?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
perfect.
Thank you. So here you can see French countryside in summer, because now, the picture doesn't want to change. What's better? Yes, now this is a picture I took yesterday in my countryside where I am living. And you can see that land is at rest in the winter, okay? Because we are in the winter now nowadays. And in France, to come back on, on this point, we have 400,000 farms all over the country. But remember, here we are a little country. We have only 67 million of inhabitants. And you can see on this map that our farms are all over the country, but more on the west side, because lands are better for agriculture. Remember, our agriculture is very impacted by European policies, because we have agreements with our partners. We have 27 countries in European in Europe, and we have many agreements to produce this or this elements. And this but this impact of Europe is very sensitive topic in the agricultural politic nowadays in France. And farms, some farms are very happy and others are not happy or concerning European agriculture policies. In this map, just a few words concerning our production. You can see on the left, on this region in France, we called Brittany. We produce many pigs, many at the scale of Europe and France, of course, and not Brazil. We produce cattle in the center of France, and we produce, for example, wheat, corn, sunflower, and all grains all over the country, but more near Paris, okay? And I can add, we produce wine. You can see in purple wine site of production, but wine is produced all over the country, and this map is not really very loyal to the reality, because we produce wine in all the country. Each village have its wine in France. So concerning wine, you can see here a very good wine, Château Figeac. For the little history, this wine is Grand Cru de Saint-Émilion. It's a very good wine. We sell this wine on foreign countries. French don't drink this wine because it's too expensive. And this wine is produced by my family. It's just for the history, so I know very well, particularly this wine. But we have many other wines, of course, in France. And we export a lot wine. I will give you some figure just after. Another product we are very proud of is cheese, and we produce and we export a lot of cheese. We export to beet, sugar beet, to produce sugar. So we produce many beet, for example, and we produce many wheat, of course, and corn at the scale of Europe and France another time. If we look, we export this product you saw in picture, but we import a lot. Our food sufficiency is something about 80%, and we import fruits and vegetables, many. Even if we are able to produce with our land, but we import. Vegetable proteins, I will speak about the trend concerning less animals products. So we import more and more vegetable proteins. We import meat and fish. One more time, we are able to produce meat and fish, but we import a lot. And we import many organic products. For example, and to give you some figure, we don't see all figure, but concerning our production autonomy, at the top of your screen, you can see in green our production versus our consumption, and you can see that we produce more wine than our consumption. So we export many wine. It's the same for milk, for yogurt, for cheese, for milk powder. So we export, for example, milk powder to China. And we export sugar to our European partners. But we import sheep, citrus, rice, soy, etc., and we are not self-sufficient on this point. We are very dependent concerning in orange block fresh fruits. We import our fruits from Spain. We are very near Spain. We import butter, for example, even if we produce meat, we produce cow, but we don't produce enough butter because to produce butter is very expensive and farms don't want to produce butter. It's better to import on an economic point of view from Poland, for example. And this is a very sensitive topic in France. It's just if you have any question concerning this first vision of our abilities to produce, I put you just some figure, but after I will speak about food consumption.
Okay, can leave the questions for
I cannot hear you, Luciana.
Cendrine, I told you that it's better you go on and then we make the questions before our presentation. Is that okay for you?
Okay.
No, after. No.
So what about our food distribution? Some points concerning this topic. So welcome in our supermarket. You can see here the main aisle of French supermarket. I think it's the same in Brazil, and in food supermarket we can find other things than food, but people used to go in the supermarket or hypermarket to buy their food. And in France, 80% of food is bought in big store like supermarket or hypermarket, like this one, for example. We have many big brands like Leclerc, Intermarché, Géant Casino, Carrefour. I think you know this one, perhaps.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. You can see on this graph the share of market of each brand. The two big are in France are Leclerc and Carrefour, but things are changing now because we have an impact of the consumption and a change of behavior. I will speak about that just after. This model of distribution and of behavior is on this line since the 60s or 70s, because in France we have a big development of this distribution network, and everybody is going to buy their food in supermarket or hypermarket. But now, for 5 years, we have a big change of behavior. And moreover, we have the young people. For example, first change, perhaps it's the same in your country, is the rise of drives, okay, with a click and collect. We were very late on this point, and now a French can buy his food in a drive, and it is very current. But we have a change. For example, you can see on the top of my graph the consumption in hypermarket, the big store, and people don't want to go in hypermarket. They still going to buy their food in this hypermarket, but the trend is going down and down. And for supermarket in the blue line, it's correct, but it changes of brand of supermarket. And is to say, French people want to buy food in proximity shop, with little shop, and with e-commerce. But the trend is starting, okay? So the main trend is hypermarket and supermarket, but all experts agree to say that the trend is changing, and proximity and e-commerce are not skyrocketing, but it will be the case in few years. For example, this is an example of an hypermarket, and with carts to put the food, and French don't want to spend time in this hypermarket. They want to spend less time to do food consumption. So, and we have many problems with meat, with industrial products, and French are not interested with this big store now. They prefer to find a little shop, like a proximity shop, like a traditional shop. But we have not traditional shop like groceries. In France, all groceries, like in the 60s or 70s, have disappeared. But now the trend is to develop proximity shop. So we can see brands like Carrefour, who have the hypermarket, but they develop proximity shop in countryside, in the town, with little shop. And in this proximity shop, you can touch the products like in the picture, and you can speak with the seller, and it is more sympathetic, and you don't spend a lot of time to buy your food. And you can find local products, for example, and this is a very important point. You can see on this picture the new tendency of a store in France. It's a big shop, okay, but it's bring in proximity shop. It seems to appear like a traditional shop. We can comment it's not a traditional shop, of course, but it seems to appear more convivial. You can see, for example, the person with the white coat, the white jacket. This is a person who is cooking in the supermarket Japanese food, and she put Japanese food, and we can try Japanese food in the supermarket. This is totally new, because a few years ago it was impossible. We have just products and without people to speak with, and without advice. And for example, another example of proximity shop, we are not in a traditional grocery, because one more time, traditional grocery you can find in France in countryside, but not so much, okay? And you can see that they bring the presentation of the products with wood, like in a traditional shop in France. Okay. If we ask the ranking of most important convenience store according to people, you can see that traditional stores are very appreciated, like a bakery or a butcher or a pastry. But do not forget that 90% of the consumption is in hypermarket and supermarket. But French declare to love their traditional shop, and we think the trend is going on proximity and traditional shop, but not for the moment. The trend is to get your food in an open air market. This is a picture. In all the town and all the countryside in France, you can find open air market the Sunday morning, and people go to buy their food, speaking with others, and it is a sympathetic moment. But not everybody can go, because sometimes products are very expensive, even local products. One kind of store is every time a success is bakery. In France, we have many bakeries, and we love to buy our bread in bakeries every day. And butchers too. But for example, butchers, we have many butchers, but not all, just high social classes can buy their meat in butcher nowadays, because it's really very expensive. Okay, and in butcher, many times you can find domestic products, but in supermarket you find something like 80% of imported meat. Okay, and we don't know the controlled process of production and distribution of imported meat. So this is a problem for French, because they are well aware of this point, but they are well aware too that they cannot buy their meat in butchers because too expensive. And this is a picture of the last trend of store. You can see the brand Carrefour, like hypermarket and supermarket, but this is a Carrefour city to be fashion and city coffee. This is a picture in Paris, and you can buy your food and you can take a coffee with your friend. Okay, just coffee very quickly. But this is a new concept. In the same idea, you spend less time, you spend a good moment with conviviality and with advice too. And this concept is skyrocketing, okay, in Paris and in big town, but social classes are not the same because it's more expensive. This is another example in a little town, not in Paris, and you can see the same concept, but it seems to be less fashion, but it's the same concept. And this is a picture of inside, and you can see just a little corner to have your drink with your friend, and you can buy your food. Have you any question? Because I finish all the point concerning distribution.
No.
Okay. So I wanted to speak just to conclude on these two first points. I wanted to speak about French production and French distribution because it is a very political subject in France because we import a lot. We have inflation. It is a new phenomenon in France. We think, economists think that this summer we will have 3.5% of inflation, and we have an inflation before. In my life, I am 50. I never know inflation. Okay, it is a new phenomenon in France. So this is a political phenomenon because people have no rise of revenue, and we have inflation and inflation on food products, like all over the world. But it's a new phenomenon in France, and it is becoming real and political topic. And moreover, because we import products we can produce here in France. So we have many discussions on media, with our students on this sensitive topic. And everybody say in France, we must sell local products in little store, because in France, a little store seems to be a quality store, okay? And it's a problem because Carrefour, for example, is developing proximity store. Carrefour is not a little store, but it seems to be a little store, and people are saying this is a local product because I can find it in a proximity store, and others said, but not, this is not a proximity store, this is a big brand, and you can find apple coming from Poland, for example. I don't know if my explanation is okay on this paradox.
It's okay.
So now I will speak about food consumption with some figure and some picture, and I would like to introduce advertisement. I don't know if we can, if you can see and hear some video, but we will see.
Yeah, you want to share a video with us? Is that?
Yeah, we will try.
Okay, you have just to click to share the sound.
Yeah, we will try. Luciana, for the timing, is it okay for you?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah? It's okay. So you can see a very little picture of a French basket, but in the reality, our basket, it's more a cart, okay? And with industrial products, with many packaging, and with many trends. To begin, I will give you some main figure. The food budget is decreasing, and nowadays our food budget in the total consumption of family is around 20%. And the disposable income of family focused on food is less than 20%. Is to say French people spend more money for their food, their computer, their their holidays, for example, and not food. Concerning this food, I will show you. I want to put out this, for example, here. Concerning food, we have change of behavior. You can see on the red part of the graph that we consume fewer meats, fewer food. I will speak about meat just in 2 minutes. I don't want to change. What matter? No. Just one word concerning wine. We drink less everyday wine. You can see on this graph the red part between the 60s and now and 2014, that the red part is very very small nowadays, because in the past French drank 1 liter of wine each day, but bad wine. And now French drink quality wine only for parties or a good meal with family or friend. And we drink wine the Sunday, for example, or for a party, or for in a restaurant, but not every day. And this is a big change, because wine is the proudness of French people. We export our wine. We produce better wine, and we don't drink everyday wine. Okay. But it was a problem for wine producers. But now wine producers adapted their production, and they produce quality wine for French market, and a very good quality wine for export markets. For example, our conception of wine is changing, and you can see in this picture that we are in a supermarket. Okay, this is not a wine store, this is a supermarket, and they bring it looks like a wine store, and usually you have a seller who can advise you for your wine. The trend is to give quality. Another point concerning our consumption, concerning food products, you can see the decrease of meat consumption in the left of your screen. And for example, you can notice the rise of eggs and dairy products, because people want to get protein, and they change their use, less meat, more eggs, and protein by dairy products. The fruit consumption is decreasing for 30 years because of the price, and politicians make for 30 years big campaign to promote the consumption of fruits, but people do not follow the French recommendation of the government, because fruits and vegetables are really expensive for the part of the inhabitants, one part of the inhabitants. I will focus on mainstream concerning food consumption now. Is it okay? Yeah. Thank you, Thelma. Thank you. So we have three big trends. First, to have fun with taste, pleasure, and gastronomy. We are very, very proud of our gastronomy. And the second trend is to trust in real product. And the third one is to make sense when we eat. I will focus on the first one. To have fun with taste is to say we have keywords like conviviality, tradition, quality. Oh, excuse me, quality is written in French. Qualité, and pleasure. The first point is tradition and conviviality. French is a country, I think we are very near on this cultural point with Brazil. So here, a meal is a conviviality moment with friends, with the family. I can show you a picture of a Christmas meal. We have every time a bottle of wine on the table, okay? And this is a very important moment in the social life of a family. And we want to eat good products to share with your family. It is the same with friends. This is an example of barbecue. And high social classes consume more snacking products. The meal and with a table like this one is very useful, but perhaps more with family and with friends. We have a consumption more with barbecue in the summer, and because in the winter here it's impossible to eat with a barbecue. And the snacking trend is very common, and this is a very big market for products to consume in a snacking moment. For example, this picture is not okay, but we prefer little tomatoes to pick a tomato and not a big tomato. So, for example, I am working with tomatoes producers, and we develop many products and a range of little tomatoes in many packaging difference with yellow tomatoes, with red tomatoes, with orange tomatoes, to propose an offer for this snacking, okay? Every French is going to a meal with friends or family the weekend. It's very useful. So the market is really very big. And not only for prepared product, but for a product like tomatoes, it's possible to reach this market too. This is another picture, and this is the idea to pick up a product and not to eat around the table with the traditional meal. If we ask, oh, I have this, I don't know where to put this. If we observe all this graph, we can see that what French take into account when going food shopping, the price, of course, and this point is very important nowadays, and I think it will be more important in next year because of the context. And the second point is the quality of products. But this is a declaration. All poll put the emphasis on quality, but the purchase and the reality are not focused on quality. Okay, we have a big difference between this kind of poll with this declaration and the reality of purchase, because our main food purchase are not quality products. And the third point we can see in this first graph that this is the origin, and I will show you just after how the origin of products is important in the consumption, in the declaration. The first point was conviviality and this declaration of quality of products to get pleasure with friends and family. The second trend is to have real products. We can focus on three key points: organic products, less ingredients, and naturality. I show you an organic yogurt here. Just one point, you can see two brands concerning organic products. The leaf, the green leaf here. This is the European label of organic, official and European one. And this one with AB, this is the French one. But people know more this one, AB, which is the French one, than the European one. Producers many times put both labels to interest the consumption. Just on a European vision, you can see France. It's the second country concerning retail sales of organic food products. The first one is Germany. And we developed our organic production. We develop our importation of organic products from Spain, from Poland, from other countries, for China, from China too. We have two sorts of organic products. On one side, we have quality organic products coming from French production or some farms in Spain. We consider with our high quality of control of the organic production. And on the other side, we have products who are coming from other countries, and we don't know exactly the check of the organic production. And like in all society, products coming from other countries without good control are sold in hypermarket and supermarket. And the price is acceptable for all French population. But organic products which are produced in France are sold in specific organic store, and the price is expensive. We have a real separation of people and products concerning organic consumption. You can see here in this curve the topic, the organic food market is skyrocketing. It's okay. But it's very paradoxical because we have these two kinds of products of consumption for two parts of the population. And you can see in the blue curve, retail store is to say supermarket and hypermarket. And you can see the blue curve is growing because it concerns the sales of organic products in hypermarket and supermarket, like I just explained. And specialized organic retail store are increasing, but not so much. Here, I wanted to show you a specific organic shop. You can see some wood, and it's very different. The consumer is different, and the shop is different, and it looks like very, very countryside, very traditional, and sometimes it's not so good because you can find water, organic water, but organic water doesn't exist. And they explain that they have many organic water coming from Poland, for example. But people are not very careful with the reality of the origin of the product. And this is a big trend. Many stores are growing in town, everywhere, like this one. Just one more point concerning organic products. You can see that non-alcoholic beverage in the green curve is rising because it concerns fruit juice for children. So the consumption for children is very careful, and people try to buy good products for their children. So the green one is impacted by this explanation, and meat is impacted too by an organic consumption because we have many problems with industrial products in the past. Another trend, another keyword is less ingredients. In France, you will explain if it is the same in your country, but in France, we have a trend with less ingredients because people don't want to buy pesticide, conservatives, too much salt, too much sugar, and they want just the product like if your grandmother is cooking. Like a yogurt, we want just the milk and the flavor, but not industrial flavor, not conservative, etc. And this brand, for example, is l'essentiel, the essential. The message is very clear. And you can see yogurt or celery, it's root puree, okay, with the same claim. We do not add conservative, pesticide in the production, or sugar or salt. My picture don't want progress. Yes, we have another trend in this idea of less product with gluten-free. In France, we consider we have 1% of inhabitants who are ill with gluten, just 1%. But many people want to consume gluten-free. This is very fashion to consume gluten-free. And you can see a picture of this bread, for example. You can find gluten-free products in every shop in France now. The market was in 2018 evaluated at 565 million euro. It increased by 31%. That's a big market. And this market with gluten-free product is in supermarket and hypermarket, not proximity shop. It is another paradox because people who want this product many times are very educated, urban, but they buy this product in supermarket and hypermarket. If not, it is too expensive. My picture don't want to move. Another example of last ingredient is this brand, Innocent. Innocent want to transfer the same message. We have just orange juice without more sugar, without nothing else. Excuse me. Less ingredients concern products and the production. For example, for this ham, the message is that this animal is produced without antibiotics. Okay, because people refuse to eat antibiotics, meat coming from animals who eat antibiotics. And for the tomatoes, this is an example of the tomatoes I developed with the company. And you can see little tomatoes for snacking. You can pick very easily. You don't need a fork. You can eat easily on your table. And you can see the green message, zero résidu de pesticides. This is to say they were produced without pesticide, without antibiotic, without pesticide, without conservatives. This is a big trend. French people refuse to eat all these products, and you can imagine the difficulties for agricultural actors to produce with different techniques and process. They need to produce organic, they need to produce without pesticide, without antibiotics for animals. And it's really very difficult to use. And the other key word is non-industrial. I put this picture. I don't know if you know this brand.
No.
In France, this brand, this picture of cow, very sympathetic. Les deux vaches, it's a game with the word milk of cow and two cow. Okay, this is a game. And it seems to be very non-industrial brand and non-industrial product. And this is an organic product too. For the launching of this brand, we can observe very sympathetic advertisement, very traditional, like a little company. But this is a big multinational. This is the group Danone. Do you know this, Danone? This is a big company. Yeah, this is a big company, and they launched this brand like with the image of a non-industrial and very little company. And it succeeded. The non-industrial product is very fashion. This brand is very famous in France, Bonne Maman. Bonne Maman means grandmother, okay? And you can see on the packaging the French traditional tablecloth we have on all the clothes of grandmother, not in my home, but this is this picture red and white is very traditional. And the claim of this brand is to give an image of a little company, traditional products, and traditional recipes. Perhaps, Luciana, I will try to put the video. I don't hear you, Luciana.
I'm talking with another person, sorry.
Okay, okay. I will try to put the video, but I think we will have a problem with the sound. You will.
Okay, you have, when you put to share, you have to click on a little box saying share with sound before you share.
Yeah, I understand you. I will try.
Okay, when you open to share, there is above to click share with sound.
I am looking for sharing sound.
Yeah.
In the black line? No?
No. You have first to share, because stop sharing what you share now, because you share with us your presentation.
Yes.
Stop it, and then we start share. I think it's a YouTube.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So you have to stop this one and then share this new window.
I can see José Almeida.
He's almost my parent. My relative, Almeida. I can hear something, but you have to share the YouTube.
Yes, yes, I'm looking for you. Where are you?
If you want, you can send me by email.
Yes.
Yeah, you can share for the chat. Yeah, put it in the chat, and then I can do it. Please.
Yes. Excuse me, I close my document. I make a mistake. So. I wish I share my screen.
Okay.
And I will continue, and we will try with this video at the end, okay? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we will go on this HUD at the end to show the traditional volunteer. The third trend, main trend, is that French people want to make sense by eating. They are well aware of the economic consequences of their consumption concerning local producer, for example, and they are well aware of animals aspect concerning the production. They don't want animals to suffer from industrial process, and they are occupied by the planet, and they want to buy smart products, is to say products who are not coming from other parts of the planet, for example, because of the environmental impact. Concerning this point, you can see in this graph that the environmental friendly preoccupation is on the orange point. They want to avoid wastes, and they want to limit use of plastic and packaging. One more time, I would like to add that this is a declaration. The use of plastic and packaging is impacted by our regulation. So we use less plastic nowadays in France, but thanks to rules and regulation. The consumption of individual portions, for example, is skyrocketing, and individual portions use many packaging and many plastic. So people are very paradoxal one more time. You can see on the blue point that they want to consume seasonal products. It seems to be very important in the declaration. So we consider, researchers consider the trend is beginning, but the trend is just beginning because we can buy strawberry all the year in France, but the production is just during 2 months. It's not a seasonal product to buy strawberry, for example, now in January or February, because we cannot produce. And Spain, our neighbor Spain cannot produce too. So to produce this product use many energy, electricity, or many transport. So what I want to show you, this is one more time, people is saying they want seasonal products. The trend is beginning, but the consumption is very different. And another point is local products. One can observe here that local product is a good point for French, and this is a good tendency, and this is the reality of the consumption is growing concerning local products. For example, here, very local, because at the scale of Brazil, I think it's very strange for you, but France is a little country, and we want to consume made in France and made in our region. For example, in Brittany, in the west of France, I show you in the map here, Brittany have a big identity. And this identity is very highlighted by producers, for example, for dairy products, like you can see here, or pancake, you can see pancake, with this brand paysan breton, is to say Brittany farmer, and Madame Loïc, you can read on the cheese, Madame Loïc. Loïc, it's a very traditional surname of Brittany. So this brand is surfing on the local consumption, and it succeeds. And we have other part of France with high identity, for example, in the south of France, like in my circle, which is called Pays Basque. This is very, very little land in the south of France, really very little. And they have a big identity, and they develop many brands, like you can see on the top and on the left of your screen, Le Petit Basque, the small Basque, so like a small boy from this countryside. And you can see two glass jam. We don't see very well on my picture, but this is a glass jam because this is the image of domestic production, of a family production, excuse me, of a family. When I cook my yogurt at home, I cook in a glass jam. And people buy a regional production and not a national production. Okay, you can see on the bottom of your screen another brand, Terre de Braise. This is a Brittany product. And you can see the 3 line. This is the flag of Brittany. So the consumer can choose this product because he is from Brittany, he is living in Paris, for example, but he can remind his origin region and buy this product, or he lives in Brittany and he buys the product coming from Brittany. But what I want to say is we buy not only the product from our region, we buy product from a specific region. Here, I am living in the south, we can buy product from Pays Basque or from Brittany, because for us, they have an identity, a qualitative image, okay? And the image of a little company. This is a brand from my town, a company who is producing yogurts, milk yogurts with lemon. And you can see on the picture of the packaging, excuse me, the map of France and the little earth here in my town, okay? The idea is to give the consumer the local production. And this is right, produced in the southwest of France. And this is a mention very important if you want to sell your product nowadays in France. But one more time, this is the same company, but with another brand, Yo Gourmand. You can see the map of France and the little point where the produce is produced. I want to show you another paradox, because these products succeed in the south of France because of their local origin, but you can see that the flavor is lemon. We don't produce lemon here. We produce just lemon in the other part of France, in the east part of South France, but just little production, very high quality production for very high quality restaurants. And we don't put this lemon in yogurts. So this lemon is coming from Spain or Morocco. And in this other example, the yogurt, the local yogurt is produced with banana. And in France, we have no banana. It's not possible. We have banana in Martinique and Guadeloupe. Okay. So the topic is acceptable, but we have no banana in France. So you can see in this graph that the regional and the country production is very appreciated by people. And for example, a product who come from European countries is just 9%. The trend is to regional, local, and made in France product. This is a big trend. Just one more figure. I don't want to give you too much figure, but for example, in the gray circle, you can see that the consumption of made in France is 82%. People who consume one product per month. No, it's not many. And 57% people who consume one food product made in France per week. But these people declare that their intention for next year is to increase this made in France consumption, and 68 people declare they want to increase their consumption of made in France. The same figure, 68% who want to increase their consumption of local products. And this is new for us. 62% declare to rise their consumption of organic products. So we can consider that in France, the origin of products made in France and local is a trend, a superior trend than the organic trend. But it's beginning, but it's skyrocketing. Organic production and organic consumption is growing for 15 years, and origin consumption is growing for 5 years. So I was speaking about a local trend, and now I want to explain you another trend, paradoxal trade. This is the consumption of meat, and the consumption of meat is decreasing in France. But I show you the blanquette de veau. This is a recipe, and this is the preferred recipe of French people. And this is a recipe with veal, okay, very traditional in all families. When you have a doso, you explain to your doso how to cook this recipe. But the consumption of meat is decreasing by 12% for the last 10 years. And the paradox is that meat have a positive image for French people. But it's changing. For example, another figure from another source, you can see the portion of meat per day per French is decreasing because in 2016 we hit 46 grams of meat only in a country where the consumption of meat was very important. We have many flexitarians. Do you know this term of flexitarians in Brazil? I don't know.
We have here also. It's the mix, right? They mix in a week. They have meat all day. Are you hearing me, Cendrine?
Not very well.
Oh, yeah.
Can you explain?
Now you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We have the same
Okay.
flexitarian, which means for us that people that is flexitarian, it's less meat, substitute and oh my gosh, consumes more vegetables in substitution of meat. So if it used to have meat 5 days a week, they will have like 1 or 2 in the week, something like that.
Exactly. Exactly the same for us. And you can see on this graph that a quarter of inhabitants are declared flexitarians, which is this is a problem for meat producers. And meat-free diet, just a little trend. It represents 2% of inhabitants only. But we speak a lot about vegans and vegetarians in French, a lot. But in reality, they represent just 2% of the consumption. This is a very big success, commercial success. Andros is a brand of yogurt and sugar products, very famous. And they launched, I think, 2 years ago, this yogurt, gourmand et végétal. Gourmand is to say very, how to translate? It's the same, I think, with pleasure and vegetal. And because vegetable products add the image of without pleasure products. But this brand managed to launch this sweet product. But one more time, you can see that the flavor is vanilla, and we don't produce vanilla in France. But this product is a big commercial success because this is vegetable. You can see another brand with soya, okay, soya milk. And this is not our soya. We can put the emphasis on another little point in this yogurt. Is here you can see Nutri-Score. I know in your country you are working on this project too.
Yeah.
And this Nutri-Score, the purpose is to put the emphasis of the nutritional impact of the product. For example, a yogurt. This yogurt is B, which is a good point. But for example, we have big problems with this Nutri-Score in France, because if you put the Nutri-Score on a good butter or a good cheese, the Nutri-Score will be very bad. But a good butter or a good cheese is a good product for us, with quality, with local impact. And all farmers are very against this Nutri-Score. Okay, and I think it will be changed in next year. And I read that perhaps in some products like good cheese or good butter, the Nutri-Score will be forbidden to protect good products, but with lipids. I come back to my example concerning vegetal products. You can see a steak like meat, but this is just soya and wheat with many lipids, okay, and conservative, but this one is without conservative. We can read it here, sans additif. Another example with another brand. This is like a jam with olives. Another example, I worked on the launching of this product, vegetal tartare. You can see on the left, on the top of your screen here. Tartare is a brand very famous in French. And you have to understand that the producer of this cheese, tartare, is a group of milk producers, okay? They have cattle, they produce milk in a cooperative, which is a group of producers to produce milk and to produce cheese with this milk. And this company, this cooperative, developed a vegetal product, but they don't produce vegetal products. They produce milk with their core. Okay, you can see the paradox. And the producer of this company cannot produce almonds because this cheese, this vegetable cheese, is produced with almonds coming from California, because we have no almonds production or just a very little in France. And this is a big paradox to see that consumers are buying this vegetable cheese coming from California, produced by a company who have and people are very, I want to show you that we have like a fashion for the moment concerning vegetable products, but perhaps it will begin to come like a trend and not only a fashion. I don't know. It's the same people declare to eat vegetable products and declare to eat local products, but they are not aware that almonds are coming from California. And the company is speaking about vegetal cheese, and they never speak about the origin of almonds, of course. But with all social networks, I think it's again very dangerous for the company.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We have, unfortunately, we have to make it until 9:30 because we also have we got this fast to speak. So if it's possible to resume it until 9:30. Is it okay for you?
Yes, okay. I just finished.
Wonderful, but I'm sorry, we have.
Look! I arrived to my conclusion and I exchange with you. I just put this image because my message are okay. I think We have keywords here: quality, conviviality, naturality, less ingredients, like chemical inputs, local, organic, less meat. And I can show you the paradox of our consumption and declaration. But I can express that the behavior for proximity and the consumption of more local and more quality is rising. I'm available for your question or comments. Thank you for your attention. I was very, very long.
No, it's okay, Cendrine, it's perfect. Thank you very much. It was wonderful. I have lots of questions for you. It was a very insightful presentation. Cendrine, so now I want to call Eduardo Pérez. Edu, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so we're doing like this. Edu, if you can please comment and make any questions for Cendrine, and then we can open for our so dear audience. Okay?
Yeah, thank you very much, Luciana. I have a suggestion to close the presentation that we can see better each other, if possible.
Cendrine?
Yes.
Yeah, much better. Thank you. Thank you for invitation, Luciana, Zagallo. I'm very happy to be here. It's an honor, a pleasure. It's nice to see Juliana from Veracruz, Thelma, Zagallo, and I know that Vivian was there, and Suzanne. For me, it's really a pleasure to see my old partners again. Cendrine, thank you very much for your presentation. It was a very a huge view about France production, production, starting from the agriculture and going to distribution, and then finishing with the consumer. I think for this opportunity that students are thinking about research problem, research questions, I want to start with one that came here to me, that why the consumer is so involvement, the involvement with sustainability is very high, and why the consumption is, for some, is based on price. It's only price because I read some article that shows that supermarket, for instance, I saw your picture from the supermarket, and there is no green color, only blue, red, and I know that like from greenwashing, for example, it's a problem because the consumer doesn't trust. I don't know, I want to hear from you if this is right, is still happening in France, and how the supermarket, the retailers can increase the awareness about sustainability during the buying process. Because food, I think, is a very interesting object to test theories, to test how the consumer behave. And this is my first question. I want to thank here Roberto, because he asked about the how the climate change is affecting on prices in France. I think this is also an interesting point. And we just offered here in Brazil meat with zero carbon, with no carbon. And do you think that a French consumer will buy this meat? You think that the French consumer trust Brazilian products, sustainability, Brazilian products, because I think this is one interesting topic about cultural distance, cultural difference between French and Brazilian consumer. I want to start with this, if possible. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Eduardo, for your complex question. First, I begin by your first question concerning the topic of sustainability. French consumers are changing, and they're going on the way of awareness concerning the sustainability in the large way. Moreover, concerning food, we had to face many problems in France for the 15 last years, and people want to trust into some companies, and they have to entrust some brands. We speak a lot about sustainability in the society. At school, for example, too. At school in France, we have programs concerning the climate, concerning the food, and all these awareness topics. And so young people is really changing. I put young people from child to people who is 30 or 35 years old. In parallel, the distribution is just following the trends of consumption, of declaration. Distribution in France is well aware of the changing of mentality, and they develop their own position. For example, we have one brand of distribution, which is Intermarché. I show you the picture, but I didn't develop. Intermarché decided to buy farms and to buy producers. So they invest in lands, they invest in farms concerning animal production, vegetable production, concerning fish, and they can buy now their own products. And they can explain to their consumer that the fish is coming from Brittany, the meat is coming from Pays Basque, etc. And they decided to focus on made in France and local production, and they intend to develop local purchase. But it's very difficult to change our process of production, our process of distribution. All the society is the society concerning food and alimentation and agriculture is organized in another way, and the change is very in depth, because we have to change our production system, because we produce for a big production for corn, for example, or for wheat or for beet, and we don't produce for a local production and a small production. This change will take many years, I think, but the consumption is changing, is beginning to change because of an awareness of young generation. It's really the topic of young generation, and the behavior is coming from young generation and not old people. And distribution just follows the trend. In France, distribution are very active, but they didn't anticipate the trend. They always follow the trend of consumption. All studies are managed by private or public society concerning the consumption and not the distribution. And the price, it's not the main topic in France, but another point I would like to add, that is French society is more polarized, is to say we have more rich people and more poor people. 20 years ago, the society was more homogeneous. And now the society is more divided and composed by poor and rich people. It's the difference now is more important. And we have products and store for rich, and products and store for poor people. And this is not exactly like that, of course, but this is very new phenomenon in France, this separation of the, how to say, I don't remember the terms in English, the ability to pay. And concerning your second point, the Brazilian products, it's difficult, I think, to accept a product coming from a foreign country. We develop a preference for French products, after for European products. But for example, in Europe, we have East Europe, and French people don't trust in East Europe products. And Brazilian products, for example, meat, it will be very difficult because the check of antibiotics, for example, is not the same. And it will be very difficult to accept products from Brazil, I'm sure. But it depends on the product, because it could be easier for vegetable, for example, and not easy for meat, because we know that cow is not produced with the same condition. I'm sure it will be difficult. And it will be difficult too, because French farms, French producers, French meat producer denounce the Mercosur, saying that the Mercosur penalize their production because OGM are forbidden here in France and OGM are accepted in Brazil. So we have, I cannot say a Brazil bashing, but a Mercosur bashing in France, yes. Okay. So this is not the best condition for your product here.
Yes, then this is an interesting subject of our research, how to deal with that with French consumer. Luciana, I think we can open because of the time. And thank you very much, Cendrine.
Thank you, Eduardo, for your question. You're welcome.
Okay, so I wanna see if there is any questions from the audience. I know there is for me, for my part, I have lots of one I noted here, and I will make a meeting with you to solve my doubts. Please, anyone, any questions for Professor Cendrine?
Excuse me, Luciana, it on and off, and I cannot hear you.
You're not, really? You're not hearing me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So I ask if anyone from audience is, okay, Roberto made a question here. How the climate change is affecting food prices in France? I believe she said something about inflation. Is that right, Cendrine?
So concerning this question, thank you, Roberto, to ask this question. The climate change is affected food price in France. Is it the question? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. For the moment, I think we are not totally affected on prices directly, but as you know, all over the world, we have an increase concerning prices on energy and on raw materials and products like the price of wheat is skyrocketing in last year, and we can consider this rise of price is impacted by the sanitary context and by the problems with transports, but not for the moment. It doesn't affect French prices because as I show you, 80% of our food consumption is sufficient. So we produce a lot of products, food products, and we consume these products. But all rising of price are coming from other points than climate change. So I think we have not a direct impact on our food prices, but we have other impacts on our production concerning climate. For example, our wine sector, which is a very important wine sector, is 24% of our exportation, food exportation. And we have a problem with the climate because all the wine produced in south of France, develop too much alcohol now. We reach 15% of alcohol, and it is too much. It is like a sugar now and not a wine. And this phenomenon impact to produce more in the north of France and to buy new lands for wine grapes. And the impact on price is not for the moment achieved, but it will occur in the future, I think, because we have some changing on production, for example, in the wine. But concerning all our production, our domestic production, France, it's a little country on a geographical point, so the change is not very, very important on this little country. Okay, it's not like in your country, or because I think you have big differences between regions. We have no so much differences between regions because the country, the map is little. Products are impacted, some products are impacted like wine, but animal production is not. And our food production allow our consumption. For example, I think it will occur in a few years because, for example, we import a lot of products from Spain, fruit and vegetables, and they need more water. But this phenomenon is not arrived for the moment.
Okay.
I'm not.
Sorry. Did you hear me?
Yes.
Did you finish?
I finished, yeah.
Okay. Well, we have to close the session. I'm sorry because we are almost 10 o'clock a.m. I'm still working. Cendrine, I just loved your presentation. It was very, very plenty of ideas. For me, it means that we have lots of challenges, not only for France, but for all over the world. From the perspective of the consumer behavior, it was fantastic because you show lots of paradoxes and how we can overcome. And as marketing professionals, you have this, and of course, and researchers to understand how to overcome those paradoxes, right? And I also think that it's super related with food illiteracy, right? So I think that we have much to study. So I hope our students here got a little bit excited with this topic. Maybe join us just to food consumption. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Luciana. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Have a good training with Luciana.